All right, everyone. Welcome back to RJK English and Siddhartha. We're starting on chapter 5. Siddhartha has decided to live his life and figure out who he is and not run from it, which is quite different from what the Buddha taught, though is searching for the same thing to experience what truth is, what is reality. But he's not trying to look through the world anymore. He's trying to look directly at the world, which is a little bit different. So this is RJK English on Facebook. Check it out, and I'll be posting videos there as well. And we can have further conversations about anything that you wish. So now we're going to Siddhartha, chapter 5, called Kamala. Kamala. Siddhartha learned something new on every step of his path, for the world was transformed and he was enthralled. He saw the sun rise over the forest and mountains set over the distant palm shore. So Siddhartha learned something at every step on his path. So we can think of a path as the actual path he was walking on. Path can also mean the aim of your life, where you are going. That can be your path as well. He saw the sun and he was enthralled. This means totally taken in by it, totally interested, totally enamored in the beauty. When you meet a new person that you love, you become enthralled with them. You want to know everything. He saw the sun rise over the forest and mountains and set over the distant palm shore. At night, he saw the stars in the heavens, and the sickle-shaped moon floating like a boat in the blue. Sickle-shaped is like this. A sickle is something that we use to cut down like plants and things like this. It's curved blade. Notice he's describing everything because he's enthralled in it. Each thing he's seeing new. He saw trees, stars, animals, clouds, rainbows, rocks, weeds, flowers, brook and river, the sparkle of dew on bushes in the morning, distant high mountains, like looking at Mount Fuji from far away, distant high mountains, blue and pale, birds sang, bees hummed, the wind blew gently across the rice fields. All this colored and in 1,000 different forms, had always been there. All this had always been there. All this stuff, colored and in 1,000 different forms, had always been there. The sun and moon had always shone. It had always shined. The rivers had always flowed and the bees had hummed. But in previous times, all this had been nothing to Siddhartha, but a fleeting and elusive veil before his eyes. He was trying to see through it. He saw these things as in his way. They were in the way of him seeing truth. Regarded with distrust, condemned to be disregarded and ostracized, cut off from the thoughts, ostracized from the thoughts, because it was not reality, because reality lay on the other side of the visible. But now his eyes lingered on this side. He saw and recognized the visible, and he sought his place in the world. He did not seek reality. His goal was not on any other side. The world was beautiful when looked at in this way, without any seeking, so simple, so childlike. The moon and the stars were beautiful. The brook, the shore, the forest and the rock, the goat and the golden beetle, the flower and butterfly were beautiful. It was beautiful and pleasant to go through the world like that, so childlike, so awakened, so concerned with the immediate, without any distrust. Elsewhere the sun burned fiercely. Elsewhere There was cool in the forest shade. Elsewhere, there were pumpkins and bananas. The days and nights were short. Every hour passed quickly, like a sail on the sea. Beneath the sail of a ship of treasures full of joy. Beneath the sail of a ship of treasures full of joy. This was what life was like to him. Siddhartha saw a group of monkeys in the depths of the forest, moving about high in the branches, and heard their wild, eager cries. Siddhartha saw a ram follow a sheep and mate, meaning coupled. They coupled together. In a lake of rushes, these are types of reeds, I believe. He saw the pike. This is a predatory fish with a long, like almost sword-like beak coming off of it. He saw the pike making chase in evening hunger. Swarms of young fishes, fluttering and glistening, moved anxiously away from it. Strength and desire were reflected in the swiftly moving whirls of water formed by the raging pursuer. This would be really good, by the way, I'm stepping away from reading, to look at all of the adjectives that he's using. These are, and all of the vocabulary he's using in this. If you listed it, you would know a lot, and how to describe distant, far away, high mountains, blue and pale, right here, blue and pale. Pale means the color's not vibrant. If I wear this shirt too long, it becomes pale. He's seeing all the aspects of life. He's seeing the beauty of life. He's seeing the playfulness of life, with the monkeys. And he's seeing the strength of predatory animals. And he loves all of it. What happens with predatory animals? They kill, right? That should be horrible to him. But no longer is he thinking that the reality in front of him is getting in the way of him seeing the reality behind it. He's now seeing the reality for itself. It's kind of like if someone gets married and they think, I'm getting married so that I can reach my potential. I need to be married in order to do well in my job, all of this. They're looking for something outside of the marriage by being married. And one day they realize that they've fallen in love with the person they married. And they realize it's not about achieving anything. They love the marriage itself. This is somewhat what Siddhartha is experiencing. All of this had always been this way. You could finish it with this way. All of this had always been, it had always existed, and he had never seen it. He was never present. Now he was present, and he belonged to it. He was no longer separated from it like a monk. Through his eyes, he saw light and shadows. Through his mind, he was aware of the moon and stars. This is very different from the old Siddhartha. On the way, Siddhartha remembered all that he had experienced in the garden of Jetavana, the teachings that he had heard from the holy Buddha, the parting from Govinda, parting meaning separation from Govinda, and the conversation with the illustrious one, the Buddha. He remembered each word he had said to the illustrious one, and he was astonished that he had said the things which he did not then really know. He was looking back at himself like we look at our younger selves and we think, oh, how I just said things without thinking. He was astonished that he had said these things to the Buddha, but he really had not known what he was saying because he hadn't experienced things. What he had said to the Buddha, that the Buddha's wisdom and secret was not teachable, that it was inexpressible and incommunicable, not able to be communicated, and which he had once experienced in an hour of enlightenment, meaning the Buddha had experienced, was just what he, Siddhartha, had set off to experience, what he was now beginning to experience. The things he had talked about with the Buddha were just words. The Buddha had experienced enlightenment. Siddhartha had not. And now he realized he needed to experience in order to gain enlightenment. And he must, continuing, he must gain experience himself, not through someone else. He had known for a long time that his self was Atman, of the same eternal nature as Brahman. Everything was one. Everything was one. But he had never really found his self because he had wanted to trap it in the net of thoughts. He had wanted to think the self. The body was certainly not the self, nor the play of senses, nor thought, nor understanding, nor acquired wisdom or art with which to draw conclusions from the already existing thoughts to spin new thoughts. Do you see how he's saying thoughts to thoughts to thoughts to thoughts to thoughts? Thoughts upon thoughts. This is a net. No, this world of thought was still on this side, not on this side, not on the side of Brahman. And it led to no goal when one destroyed the senses of the incidental self, but fed it with thoughts and erudition. So you're destroying the self and its senses, but you feed it with thoughts and erudition. You're destroying all that you use for actual experience, and you're only favoring what you think. This is separating you from the world. You are not experiencing the world directly, you're thinking. Both thought and the senses were fine things. Behind both of them lay hidden the last meaning. Thought and senses are good. It was worthwhile listening to them both, to play with both, neither to despise nor overrate either of them, but to listen intently on both voices, thought and experience. He would only strive after whatever the inward voice commanded him, not tarry, not stay anywhere. He would not stay anywhere but where the voice advised him. Sorry, one moment. Let me see if I can, but where the voice advised him to. Why did Gautama once sit down beneath the bo tree in his greatest hour when he received enlightenment? He had heard a voice in his own heart which commanded him to seek rest under this tree. This is talking about the Buddha. And he had not taken recourse to mortification of the flesh. He had not tried to kill his own body. He had not taken recourse to mortification of the flesh, to sacrifices, bathings or prayers, eating or drinking, sleeping or dreaming. He had listened to the inner voice, the voice that was not his own brain. To obey no other external command, only that voice, only the voice, to be prepared. That was good, that was necessary. Nothing else was necessary, just to be prepared to listen to that inner voice. All right, we're going to stop here. So now we're seeing him on the tree, on his trip, on his path. Think about the vocabulary that we've learned, the way that Hesse, through the English translation, is describing the world around Gautama. And if you want to, go back to the old and how Siddhartha had, I'm sorry, Siddhartha I was speaking of, how Siddhartha had explained his world before. He wasn't looking and describing the world like he is now, right? We'll start next time with the next part, and probably this will take 3 or 4 tries to finish this chapter. All right, so make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me to make these videos, and I'll see you later. Bye.